Okay, this is video number 4, and we will be discussing the Performance Profile tab. Alright, by default, you'll see it configured like this, but you can optimize it further for greater performance. Firstly, latency reduction, GPU Performance Guard. Enable these two. Once you change these settings, though, you will have to restart your system. Just these settings, and once you've changed it once, you won't have to change it again. So you will notice if you turn these on and restart your system, it will then be on for every other game and every configurator. So every time you open the configurator for any game, you will see that these are enabled. Okay, you won't need to change it again. Now, it's system-wide, so latency reduction does what it says. It reduces latency, so you have a snappier system. Can consume a little bit more power, but you'll have a faster acting system, right? GPU Performance Guard. What this will do is, you see, usually when you're playing a game, especially if it's a game that is demanding and is using a lot of your GPU, what happens is there are brief moments of instability, okay? And a lot of people have this, but they don't know. They don't know that that's what's causing their micro stutters and stuff like that. So the GPU Performance Guard will ensure that the game has the proper access to your card, can utilize all the performance without those moments of instability that sometimes cause micro stutters. So you will have a smoother experience, and in fact, this will give you a smoother system overall. So that's what the GPU Performance Guard is for. It's very useful. Now, the performance bias. This is going to optimize the process of your game in a certain aspect. So when you set it to high, high is great for pretty much all systems or CPUs. Okay, that allows the game to use more of your CPU and to use it in a better way. So you will have better hardware utilization, not just of your CPU, but other aspects of your system, right? So you can get better performance, right? Now, there's the Ultra mode. Ultra, you might need to take into consideration the performance of your system or the capabilities of your CPU. If you have a weak CPU, or if the game usually is consuming like 100% of your CPU and your CPU is not all that capable, if you enable Ultra mode, that can cause instability of the game itself or of processes. Like, let's say you don't have a strong CPU and you enable Ultra mode, and then you also have recording software, like let's say you've got OBS in the background, that can starve OBS as the game takes focus. So OBS might become unstable, or if you don't have a strong CPU, the game itself might become unstable. But if you have a capable CPU, it doesn't have to be super powerful, but as long as you know your CPU is capable, it's okay, it's a decent CPU, the Ultra mode is great and will always give you better performance than high. Okay, so assignment scheme, enable these two. They should always be enabled. Resource isolation, this will make sure that certain background processes don't interrupt your game. So while you're playing, you have a lot of background processes doing things. This will ensure that all those non-essential ones don't spike CPU while you're playing the game, and therefore cause micro stutters and things like that. Okay, the enhanced execution profile, that is an additional optimization layer that ensures that the game is going to be treated in a better way, in a special way, for increased performance. All right, now we've got the power scheme. This is pretty much system power profiles. Okay, you've got balanced. This is great because let's say you're like me, because in general, when I'm not playing a game or whatever, I always have my system in the power saver mode, because I don't know, I just like that, you know. I believe in not using all your power or using much of the CPU if you don't have to. All right, so I'm always in power saver mode. But if I'm playing a game that requires a bit more power, then I might choose balanced, because I have a more powerful CPU. I don't need to enable high performance and ultimate performance. But the higher you go, the greater performance. So if you enable ultimate performance, you will get the best performance for your game, but that'll use more power. Okay, so that'll use more power, but you will get the very best performance with ultimate performance mode. The lowest frame times, lowest latency, everything will be the absolute best. Okay, high will give you better performance than balanced, and won't consume as much power. Balanced is what it is. It's balanced, but it won't perform as well as high and ultimate. All right, so if you want the best performance, just go ultimate performance mode, and this will of course only be enabled while you're playing your game. Once you quit your game, it'll return to whatever it is that you had before that. Okay, whether it be power saver or balance mode or whatever. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, I haven't discussed the basic settings, but let me just actually address this now. You should leave all these enabled. This is great. We have the update frequency. That is the rate at which TitanBoost operates. Okay, this is a time interval. So the lower the number, the faster acting TitanBoost is. By default, 100 is pretty good for all CPUs. But if you feel your CPU is very weak, or if you have generally a very weak system, very weak CPU, you can raise this to 200. 200 is pretty much great for all CPUs. Okay. Otherwise, 100 is a great number. You could lower this. But that means you will now be doubling it from 100 and quadrupling it from 200. And this is really fast. 50 is really fast. But you likely don't need that. You might for some games. For some games, you might need much faster reactions for the reduced frame times. But for some games, that can cause oscillation within some of the deterministic mechanisms of the subsystems. You see, I'm going too deep again. Never mind all that. Just know that 100 is safe for all games. 50 and below can be better for some games, but not always. Okay, 100 is a pretty decent value. Unless you feel your CPU is weak, then you can raise this to 200. Okay, great. So that's it for the 4th video. Next, we're going to be discussing the thread boosters in a little more detail. Okay, cheers.